Hello, BookTube, and welcome to episode 9 of Hours in My Library. This week, it's not going to be that pretty of a book, but it's interesting nonetheless. It is The History and Social Influence of the Potato by Redcliffe Salaman. And this is a 1970 reprint of his 1949 book. This is by Cambridge University Press. And it has Redcliffe N. Salaman. He's director of the Pathological Institute at the London Hospital. He was made that in 1903. He was born in 1874, and but a year later, in 1904, he developed tuberculosis. So he had to quit the position, and it took him a few years to recover from this. When he did recover, he moved to Hertfordshire and bought a farm. He experimented with sort of keeping animals, but didn't really suit him, so he started getting into potatoes, the humble and lonely potato. And he started experimenting interested in genetics. And 40 years later, this is the result. His book, The History and Social Influence of the Potato. And this is the frontispiece is The Potato Eaters, 1885, Vincent van Gogh. And it's black and white. And it basically goes through. He talks about the archaeological record of the potato, the Incas, potato in America, names and other uses of the name of potato throughout Incan history and North American history. And then he talks about the varieties of potato, past, present, and future, he even goes. And the potato in Ireland, 16th century, the 17th century, the 18th century, and the period of Irish self-government, Ireland, 19th century, and the famine. He goes through, and potato in Scotland, in the Highlands and Lowlands of Scotland, potato in Wales, the potato of Shakespeare and the Jacobeans, and the first 100 years of the potato progress in England, the 17th century. And then he, again, just general history through the 18th century, 19th century, and after. And then he talks about the potato uses in St. Helena and Jersey, and industrial uses for the potato. Actually, a section has been added by industrial uses by W.G. Burton, Low Temperature Research Station, Cambridge, whatever that is when it's at home. And then there's appendices about the potato crop, the failures of the potato crop in Ireland, and potato in Spain. He's got a bit of a section of photographs in here, and they're sort of vessels that are they're Incan vessels, a lot of them, and some that aren't, but they're all sort of in potato shape and potato designs. Here's one with tubers and everything. It's quite interesting, and it's a hefty book. It's been considered a classic of its time. And the subject matter especially, because it was the first of it, and it's 650 pages with the index. So, as I say, it's not a lovely book. It's not a beautiful looking book. It's missing the dust jacket, but it is quite interesting. And Salaman died in 1955. He was 80 years old, so he recovered quite well from the tuberculosis in 1904. It took him a couple of years, apparently, and he had his first wife was a Hebrew scholar, and I think his second wife, after she died, was a Hebrew scholar as well, or a daughter of a Hebrew scholar. But that's, it just sort of interesting connections there. And there's been a few books of sort of potatoes, and I want to sort of get a couple others to sort of have like three or four books on the potato. So I have a small little collection. I put this in sort of my odd and weird collection of books. But there you go. There is the history of the social influence of the potato. Your book for hours in my library. Take care, BookTube.